I still remember that exact moment. The sun was just starting to dip behind the mountains when we spotted him. A small, thin figure curled up near the roadside where the dust met the pine. We just finished packing crates of peaches from the orchard, our hands sticky and our backs sore. I wasn't even thinking about anything other than getting back to the shelter and tending to the evening routine. But then I saw Max. He didn't bark. He didn't whimper. He just looked up at us with the saddest, most exhausted eyes I had ever seen. His body looked like it hadn't felt warmth in weeks. Dirt clung to his fur, and his breathing was short, raspy, painful to listen to. It wasn't until I got closer that I realized his nose had collapsed inward. The bridge of it was completely shattered. The whole thing shifted unnaturally to one side. His right nostril was useless. All his breaths came from the left side, and even that was a struggle. I crouched down and whispered, "Hey buddy, it's okay now. You're safe." He didn't run. He didn't flinch. He just stared. It was like his body had given up, but his eyes still had a sliver of hope. We wrapped him in a towel and took him home that night. Over the next few days, the whole shelter revolved around Max. Even though we had over 20 animals in care, Max was different. He was quiet, but not out of fear, more like he was conserving every ounce of energy he had left. Eating was a challenge. We had to hand feed him slowly. Even swallowing seemed painful. At night, I lay awake thinking, should we go through with the surgery? What if he didn't make it? But then I remembered his eyes. I remembered how, even in that state, he hadn't given up on us. So I promised him something out loud, just me and him in the dim light of the shelter room. "Max, we're going to fix this. I don't know how yet, but we will." Medical bills were piling up. Nana, one of our older rescues, had just been released from the hospital after a stomach surgery, and her care had left us deep in debt. So, we kept picking peaches. Selling fruit to fund surgery is not glamorous, but it was real. And the people who bought them, many of them knew that each juicy, sweet peach helped heal a life. Eventually, we had enough to book Max in for surgery. We called Dr. Shaw, the one vet we trusted for critical procedures like this. The day of the hospital visit, Max sensed something. He was restless. He squirmed in the car and tried to hide under the seat. When I carried him into the clinic, his body shook. It was a silent fear, the kind that comes from trauma that no one sees. He didn't bark. He didn't bite. He just trembled. We tried to calm him with chicken broth and gentle strokes. Eventually, he sat still enough for the vet to assess his condition. The prognosis was difficult. The nasal fracture would require complex reconstruction, and there was a risk of chronic inflammation if things didn't heal correctly. But Dr. Shaw was confident, and that was enough for me. We prepped him for surgery the next day. Watching Max go under anesthesia felt like watching my own heart pause. I held my breath as they wheeled him into the operating room. The minutes crawled, the hours stretched, and then, finally, the door opened. Dr. Shaw walked out, pulling down his mask with a tired but satisfied look. "It went well," he said. "There's still a long road ahead, but he made it." I wanted to cry. Post-op wasn't easy. His nose was packed and bandaged. He couldn't eat solid food, so we made him soups, hand-blended with vitamins and soft meats. Every day, we changed his dressings. Every day, he whimpered a little less. His appetite returned first slowly, then all at once. One afternoon, he stole a dumpling off the edge of the table and ran off like a thief. It was the first time I heard his tail thump against the floor. Rehab started 2 weeks later. His legs had grown weak from disuse, but we walked him little by little, first 10 steps, then 20. Some days he resisted. Some days he gave me a look that said, "No more," but most days, he tried. That's all I ever needed, and Max, he lived up to his name. Maximum energy, maximum chaos, maximum heart. He once bit my hand trying to snatch a meatball I was feeding another dog. We laughed so hard it hurt. Today, Max runs in the shelter yard like he was never broken. He can breathe freely no more. whistling, no more wheezing. He eats like he's making up for lost time, and every time someone visits the shelter, Max runs up first. He isn't the shy dog from the mountains anymore. He's a symbol of why we do this. People often ask me, isn't it exhausting, saving animals like this? Yes, it is. But I look at Max, curled up in the corner now, tail wagging in his sleep, and I think, how could we not? So to everyone reading this, thank you. Your support, your kindness, your belief in what we do it made Max's second chance possible, and Max, he'll spend the rest of his life proving that it was worth it.
I never imagined that an ordinary walk one afternoon would lead me to a life-changing encounter, where a fragile soul lay motionless in the corner of a crumbling kitchen, between the last breath of autumn warmth and a world that seemed too indifferent to care. That day, the wind was sharp. It rustled through the bones of abandoned buildings, pushing scraps of old newspaper across the empty alleyways. I wasn't looking for anything, just passing by to avoid the cold. But then I heard it, a faint, broken sound. Not a cry, not a bark, just breathing. Barely. I turned the corner and stopped in my tracks. There, tucked into the dark corner of a rotting food stall, was a small dog. Thin, shivering, still, but its eyes were open. They weren't pleading, they were enduring. Later, I learned that this dog once had an owner. They said he'd been hit by a car, injured badly. The owner received some compensation money, and then vanished, leaving the dog behind like old luggage that had outlived its use. That was when I named him Black Panther. Both of Panther's hind legs were shattered, not just broken, crushed. His hips were misaligned, bone fragments everywhere, the kind of damage that changes a life forever. That night, I rushed him to the vet. The surgery took hours. Drills, plates, cold steel, and heavy sighs. His tiny legs were patched together with titanium pins and metal rods. His body wasn't built to carry such weight. Most animals would have cried, but Panther didn't. He just stared at us, quietly, as if he had already grown used to being unheard. When we brought Panther home, I was scared he wouldn't make it. Every time I reached out, he flinched. He trembled when I got close. His body was stitched in so many places it looked like a map of pain. But day by day, something changed. He began to look at me longer. Then one day, he licked my hand. A week later, he barked softly when he saw me. And then finally, he took a step toward me, shaky, awkward, and full of effort. But it was a step toward trust. Panther didn't just survive. He thrived. He became part of our sanctuary, our family. Every day, he played, ran, and danced across the yard. He was gentle, curious, and incredibly observant. When I was tired, he lay beside me in silence. When I laughed, he wagged his tail and bounced around on his front legs like he was dancing. But what moved me most was this. Panther started helping the newcomers. He would sniff out scared puppies, sit beside them, guide them to the water bowl, as if he remembered what it was like to feel lost. Even now, Panther still carries metal in his legs. The pins haven't been removed, it's too risky. But you'd never guess by watching him play. He runs like nothing ever happened. He leaps, he spins, he smiles, but deep inside I know he remembers. And maybe that's why he's so gentle to the others, so patient, because once upon a time he was that dog broken, thrown away, and waiting for someone to choose kindness. Some lives are small, but the strength inside them, unbelievable. Black Panther is more than a rescue. He's proof that one moment, just one person stopping to care, can change everything. So, do you believe that simply choosing not to walk away can save a life? Because Panther didn't die that day. He lived, he ran, he laughed, and in doing so, he taught us all something we should never forget. Love can rebuild anything. Kindness can rewrite any story. And no one deserves to be abandoned.
We got the call just after sunrise. A dog was lying alone in an overgrown field, barely breathing, too weak to move, crying softly from unimaginable pain. Someone found him and did the one thing that changed everything. They called us. When we arrived, the field was silent. His eyes met ours, full of pain, full of pleading. We raced to our clinic, hoping we weren't too late. The team moved fast, and Forline was placed immediately. He was severely dehydrated and in critical condition. We gave him painkillers to ease his suffering. Slowly, his cries quieted, his breathing deepened. We cleaned his wounds, dressed his sores. He didn't resist. He just rested as if finally safe. Pain relief came next. His breathing slowly calmed. Finally, he slept for the first time in what must have been days. That sleep may have saved his life. We cleaned his wounds and bandaged them gently. On day 3, he sat up, weak but determined. He started to eat on his own, slowly, but with hunger. He ate his first full meal. On day 6, He could walk a few steps. His tail wagged just a little, but enough. From day 6 onward, something in him changed. His eyes no longer looked empty. There was curiosity, now hope. He started walking more, a few steps turning into short strolls. Each movement was still careful but no longer painful. That day, we saw him wag his tail without hesitation. It wasn't just recovery, it was the beginning of joy. By day 10, he was playing with us, still skinny, still fragile, but alive. After 2 weeks, he could run again. When we opened the door to the garden, he hesitated at first, then stepped outside on his own for the first time. And after 2 weeks, he was nearly back to full strength. We named him Brave, because through it all, he never gave up. Brave isn't just a dog we think he's a miracle. A reminder that kindness can save lives. And sometimes when we save them, they save us right back. Join us as we revisit the incredible journey of a dying dog rescued, healed, and now running and playing like he was never broken.